Hello, hello. Hey, ladies. Welcome to the live. I'm going to be talking about why skipping meals is the wrong answer for weight loss. So, welcome in. If you are watching the replay, hashtag replay in the comments. I love that you guys always check out the replays. And if you're watching live, you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know who is here. I'm not going to be on long. I have 4 reasons why I personally believe that skipping meals is the wrong answer to weight loss, and I'm going to share those with you really quickly today. I want to remind you that the Fit Figure formula is open for enrollment. So I already have several ladies in. We don't start until September 11th. So September 11th is the first group. Starts Monday. We have group calls Mondays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. CST. And I already have several ladies who have signed up. I know I have 2 sales calls today and then another interest call next week. So if you want to be in that number, okay, you need to make sure that you click the link that is pinned in the comments. If you have questions about what is it like to coach inside the Fit Figure formula, what is the goal, is this right for me, like you want more information, I'm actually creating like a little video too that I can send to you. I need to finish that today, so that I can send to you so that you can see the back end. You can see my private coaching app where my clients and I will communicate. I give you step-by-step instructions so you'll never not know what to do. You'll know exactly what to do every single solitary day. And if you're signing up during this early bird period, you're actually getting some one-on-one calls with me, some bonus calls with me before we get started for signing up a little bit early. But that does end on Friday. I think it's like the 25th for early bird enrollment. After early bird is just regular enrollment. You'll wait, you'll sign up. You can wait until September the 11th to join. And y'all, it's Virgo season. Do I have any Virgos in here? If you are a Virgo, hashtag Virgo in the comments and let me know. When is your birthday? Hey, Nanette, hi, how are you? So my birthday is coming up and I have a very special announcement regarding that. But I'm going to wait until my birthday. But if you are a Virgo, hashtag your birthday in the comments. Mine is 9/18. I think I said this in my stories, but I always tell myself like I'm going to do a photo shoot. I really want to do a photo shoot. But I overthink it and I never end up doing it. But this year, I'm for sure doing something really special that I will never forget, and I'll be sharing with that with you guys on 9/18, which is my birthday. So I'm going to be talking about skipping meals. So I know this is super popular right now. Intermittent fasting, people will fast, and I don't necessarily have a problem with intermittent fasting. I will say this: I've seen some windows that are just fine. Right? But I want to tell you why I don't think simply skipping a meal is the best way to go about hitting your goals. And I'll also talk about, there was a comment in one of the posts about like not being hungry and that's why you're skipping meals. And so I can kind of talk a little bit about that as well. So, let me pull up my notes, y'all. Okay. So number 1, the first reason why I feel like skipping meals is really the wrong answer for weight loss is because it's not necessary. So you can eat more food, and this is what I teach my clients. All of my clients are like, you want me to eat how much? And they're like, I am so full. And I'm like, yeah, I want you to eat more. I know you're used to dieting and not eating and eating less and less and less to see results. And a lot of you guys who will watch this live or watch the replay know that you have dieted for a very long time and you're trying your best to eat less and less volume. You're trying to eat less and less total meals and skipping meals throughout the day. And you come to this place where you get stuck. You either have to like eat basically nothing to lose weight, which is not sustainable and you're going to gain the weight back, or you're trying to eat less, but it's not working and the scale isn't moving. Okay. So you will get stuck at a point, or you'll just really like be undernourished. It's not necessary to skip a meal in order to create a calorie deficit. So a calorie deficit is the only way that we lose fat. But it's a little bit more tricky, because I think that people hear the word calorie deficit and they just think, okay, I just need to eat less and move more to create that calorie deficit so that I can be burning more calories than I'm actually eating. And yes, that's kind of true, but it's also true that if you've been skipping meals, under eating carbohydrates, not getting enough protein, if you're not lifting, your metabolism is slowly down regulating and you're not burning as many calories at rest. So what I teach my clients is number one, let's get active, right? I love coaching women who don't mind like getting in the gym. And then slowly start to increase the calories that you are consuming. And I always get a lot of resistance with this. And I'm actually going to do a live on this in a couple of weeks on the resistance, because I coached on this a couple of times with a couple of clients, and they're like, are you sure you want me to increase my calories? And I'm like, yes. And so they start to get a little bit nervous. And I'm like, showing them their results, their waist, their hips, their weight, and I'm like, it's working. But your brain will always want to go back to the default of like, let me eat less, let me move more. So when you decide to eat less and less, you're really training your body to need less and less calories, because it will become really efficient in prioritizing your life-preserving functions instead of breaking down fat, which takes calories. Okay, so that's number one, is it's not necessary for you to skip meals in order for you to lose weight. A lot of us like to eat anyway. Like, I like to eat. I don't want to have to, right, cut out a meal just so I can lose weight. Especially if I don't really like that method. I don't really like to skip breakfast, because by lunch I'm super hungry. Well, that's probably not going to last long if it's not something that's enjoyable or something that's like a natural thing for you. It's probably not going to last long. And it does not matter how much weight you can lose if you can't keep it off. So the journey of figuring out what works for you and how to eat and still lose weight is worth it. It's worth the journey, because when you get to your goal, you'll be able to just continue to do what you've been doing. Okay, that's number one. It's not necessary. Number two, it doesn't mean that you don't have to understand your food. So this is probably the biggest reason in my mind. Just skipping a meal does not absolve you of needing to understand how to put together a balanced plate when you do eat. It does not take away the need for you to understand how many calories you actually need, how many grams of protein you actually need. I only have my clients track calories and protein. Their fat and their carbs won't be able to be too high if they have their calories in check. Because the only way that we get calories is through carbs, protein, fat, and alcohol. So protein is the most important macronutrient. I have them hit or exceed their protein goal and then be within 100 calories of their calorie goal. And then they can let their carbs and fats flex, because it doesn't really matter as much how many you have, because if your calories are in check, you can't overeat either one, the carbs or the fat, right? So understanding your nutrition and what you actually do eat, your diet is actually what you are eating. So let's say I'm skipping breakfast. Well, what are you having for lunch and dinner? And are you having a snack? How many calories are you eating? Are you so hungry because you skipped breakfast that now you're either overeating portions for lunch, or maybe you're getting something that's really calorie dense? Part of the reason why I know plenty of people who have done intermittent fasting that still didn't see any results by cutting out a meal, is because they're still eating too many calories. It doesn't mean that you don't have to understand how many calories you need and how much protein you actually need. So I highly recommend, if you're just guessing, because if you're not tracking your food, you're guessing, basically. If you are not tracking, I know it's not, nobody likes to track. It's not fun. But I teach my clients a way to do it. So you only have to be in MyFitnessPal once a week at the most. And you can still hit your goals every single day without having to be in MyFitnessPal every day. Because that's one of the things that sucks about MyFitnessPal, is that like tracking is not fun. But I teach them how to hit their macros without having to be in MyFitnessPal every day. But they are still logging their food, but they know exactly how much they need to eat each day if they follow my step-by-step process. So you don't have to skip meals. You do have to understand what you're putting on your plate, even if you're doing intermittent fasting. You still have to have a calorie range. You still need to hit your protein. So it might be easier. And I think that's the reason why people do it, because they don't have to think that much. It's just like super easy, like, okay, I just want to eat dinner. But then you're starving for dinner and you're wondering why you're craving carbs. If you are at home at night, especially if you have like a job where you're like walking around all day and you've eaten, but you haven't really eaten intentionally, and you get home, it's like, dang, it's after 6 and I'm not supposed to eat after 6, and you're starving, you're just under eating. You're definitely under eating protein. Someone had commented that they naturally are not hungry in the morning, and that's fine. But I do think that it is harder to hit your goals. It is so much harder to hit your protein. From what I know, and I've coached hundreds of ladies at this point, unless you're very strategic, it's almost impossible to hit a good protein goal with only 2 meals, right? Like most of my clients need 3 meals and a snack to hit their protein goal. And even that, sometimes they still struggle. And that, then we just coach on like what foods they need to be picking. But if you're only eating twice, you're probably not hitting your protein goal. Or you're hitting like a protein goal, but you're hitting a really low protein goal. So it's really hard. If you're only eating 6 hours out of the day, you're probably going to be either stuffing yourself, or you're going to be drinking a lot of supplements, or you're just not going to be hitting your goal. Okay. Another caveat that I'll say is, I hear this a lot of like, well, I'm eating clean. I'll ask somebody like, okay, what are you doing? I'm eating clean. And then they'll tell me everything they're doing with workouts. And I'm like, it's great for you to move. I want you to lift. I want you to do whatever kind of movement makes you happy. And your nutrition is the most important driver of your success. So just because you're eating clean, how many calories are you eating, right? Because healthy food has calories too. Healthy food still requires you to sometimes limit, especially if you're eating a lot of like nuts and avocado or olives or cheese, which are totally fine to have, but can pack a lot of calories. And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just what it is. And then if you have the knowledge and the skill set, my clients need those all the time. I'm always telling them, hey, you're under eating, or you need a few more calories. Add some nuts, add some seeds, add some cheese, add some avocado, add olive or something, right? Like I'm always telling them that. So it's not bad that something is calorie dense. It's just like, what are you using it for? Do you understand how to put it in your diet and make it fit or make it work for your goals? Okay. So eating clean won't fix it. Skipping a meal won't fix it. You have to actually understand your nutrition. And it's just a skill set that you can learn, that once you learn it, it's like, okay, it's not that hard. But I think that we kind of go around the actual learning of our food instead of, because it's just easier just to skip a meal. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions about this too. Hi, Tawana. So I forgot what number I'm on, but building muscle requires calories. So this is another point that I'd like to just kind of talk about a little bit. Building muscle requires calories. So a lot of times I will ask someone, well, what's your goal? And they always say, I want to tone, I want to lose fat, and I want to build muscle, right? Well, if you actually want to build muscle, number one, why do you want to do that? A lot of us may or may not understand that it helps you to increase your metabolism because it's active tissue. That means you burn more calories at rest. That means that you don't have to be running around doing a whole bunch of cardio. I can just be sitting here. I have more muscle and I'm burning more calories than somebody who is my same size and who has less muscle mass. So simple and the most impactful way to increase your metabolism is by building muscle. But you can't just go to the gym. You cannot just work out. You absolutely have to fuel your body by calories and protein. When you go to the gym, we are creating micro tears in our muscle that needs to be repaired, right? And so when we eat enough protein, eat enough calories, and when we sleep, that is when we are repairing our muscle. And I think it's called human growth hormone that is secreted from, I think it's either the pituitary or the hypothalamus, so I don't remember, but it's secreted from a gland while we are sleeping, human growth hormone. And during deep sleep, so those of you who are only getting 4 hours of sleep, those of you who are only getting 5 hours of sleep, you are cutting into the time. So here you are going to the gym, working all hard, sweating all hard, thinking that you're really building muscle when you're not sleeping enough, when you're not getting enough protein to even suture up your micro tears anyway, right? So you cannot just skip a meal. For those of you who are intermittent fasting, it's not necessarily a problem, but are you being strategic about getting enough calories and protein when you are eating so that you can increase your muscle mass if that's what your goal is? Because that is the best way to help increase your metabolism. Okay. Let me check the chat and see if there are any questions. No. Okay. And if you happen to be watching the replay and you have questions, I will be available for questions. Just put it in the chat. Okay. So number one, it's not necessary for you to skip a meal just for weight loss. It's not necessary. If you like to eat, you don't have to skip meals. I love to eat, y'all. It does not mean that you don't have to understand your nutrition of what you actually do eat. So you still need to understand what you're putting on your plate. Okay? 3, you're training your body to need less food. And when we do that, we're practicing, we're telling our body like, okay, I'm only going to give you this much. So your body tries to adapt. It's called metabolic adaptations. Your body tries to adapt and conserve more energy so that you don't die. Okay? And so what happens is we start to conserve more energy. That means that I have to eat even less to create that calorie deficit. Okay? So we don't want to we want to train our body to be able to handle more food. And that doesn't always mean more volume. And this is what some of my clients, we constantly coach on this, is like, it doesn't have to be a ton of food, right? Like we know that food can be very calorically dense, especially if we're eating out. But when you are eating single ingredient foods, you're eating like mostly whole foods, it can be a lot of food. But that's where healthy fat comes in. Okay, and so we want to be able to train our body to be able to handle more food, not less. And then 4 is building muscle. Requires calories, and it requires protein, and it requires enough sleep. So if you know that you don't want to continue to skip meals in order to see a result, if you like to eat, if you know you have been skipping meals and you haven't been seeing the results that you want, you can learn how to eat more and weigh less inside the Fit Figure formula. I told you guys I'm not going to be on here long. That was my 4 tips for today. Early bird enrollment is open, so if you want to get in before Friday and get some one-on-one calls with me, I had some great calls last week with ladies that signed up 2 weeks ago. And I get to talk to you a little bit more. We get to really dive into your mindset, especially for those of you who know that there's some self-esteem issues. There might be some self-worth. If getting on the scale really bugs you and it really like messes up your day, when the scale goes up and down, you'd probably want to take advantage of having some one-on-one time with me. I think that that is like a great time for us to kind of dig into your mindset a little bit more. A couple of the ladies who have already signed up, we're so happy that it was so simple. They were scared for some reason. I don't know why. Apparently I'm intimidating is what I was told this weekend. But it's not scary. It's actually more so, fear is always worse than the actual thing. So both of them were scared to start, probably just dealing with some self-trust, not understanding that like this is not a diet, it's not a program, that we're on the program. No, we're going to start where you are and we're going to slowly progress. And both of them were like, I'm so glad we're starting slow. I feel like I can do this. I feel so much better. I'm like, yes, this is what I want you to think. I want you to think, yes, I can do that. That is a powerful affirmation. So if you have questions about joining, let me know. If you have questions about the formula or about the early bird, if you want to just talk to me about it, you can DM me or click the link in the comments. So hopefully this was helpful, you guys. You can let me know if you have questions. Let me check the chat again. Okay, I don't see any questions. Thanks for watching, ladies. I'll see y'all soon.